Hi there, this is Sahid with New Bloom Solutions and The Bloom Show, brought to you by New Bloom Solutions and Above All Flowers. As you know, the intention of this show and everything we do is to innovate, connect, and inspire the flower industry through community and through innovations and information as well. So this whole entire month, we've done conventions and networking. It kind of started with WFSA, so I was inspired there, and I said, why not continue to educate and show what these conventions are about, what the exhibitions are about. Sorry for my broken English there, but what the exhibitions are about and how much value these organizations also offer to everybody. And again, most importantly, the networking and collaboration opportunities that they offer. So today we're having Kate Penn, CEO of SAF, which is super awesome. And we're actually, Above All Flowers and New Bloom Solutions just became members. So we're about to, but I'm considering us as members already. So super excited about that because of the value, the collaboration opportunities, and the great people we get to meet, like Kate Penn. So help me bring on Kate Penn and have her on, and please feel free to ask any questions. It's so important that you selfishly ask questions. If there's anything you want to know about the future of SAF or about membership or about the show that they're having in Orlando, please jump in and ask questions. And as well, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Here we go. Give me a second. Hi, Kate.
Hi, Sahid. How are you?
Long time no talk, like 5 seconds.
I know.
Welcome on board. Thank you for joining, and thank you for taking out of your busy schedule, because I know September's right around the corner, but you must already be planning for the convention, and super excited about it.
We are. And thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I love your topic this month, and I'm so happy that shows are back and we are gathering again.
That's awesome. And you know, if WFSA is any little example of the events, you were there. You were super busy. It was so hard to talk to you. I remember you were so busy, which is a great thing. It was a great show, right? It was
so great. There was so much energy, and everybody was so excited to see each other again. But there were also lots of new people and everything. If that was any indication, our industry is so ready to be back and gather for events for sure. Yeah.
And the energy was amazing as well. So I really look forward to keeping up that energy with SAF in Orlando. So you can't go wrong by going to Orlando as well. So that's always a great thing.
I know there was such a sense of, from some of the comments at the podium of like this sense that as an industry, we have gotten through something really difficult. But it was very positive and energizing, and everybody felt good about that. But I loved some of those comments that WFSA's president, Tim Dewey, made at the podium about that this wasn't easy. This has not been an easy year.
Yeah, it was a scary year, but we got out at the other end of the tunnel with light, and hopefully we can keep up that light,
Right.
Pass on the torch, right? So to the questions, tell us a little bit about you. Your background, and how did you end up in the worldwide crazy world of flowers?
Well, so my background, I'm actually a journalist, and I moved to DC fresh out of journalism school, and I was just doing some freelance writing for small newspapers, and heard about all the trade publications you can write for, and that's how I landed at Society of American Florists as a writer. So, and that's how I got into the floral industry. So
you went from writer to CEO.
Well, not exactly. No, it took a while, but I was writing, and then eventually running our magazine and running our publishing operations, and then all of our content as well. Really involved with our education, our educational content, and other content that we do, and involved at a senior management level at SAF for a number of years, and then they tapped me for the CEO spot when our longtime CEO, Peter Moran, was retiring. So I said, sure, I'll throw my hat in the ring.
Why not? Let's give it a try. Let's give it a whirl.
Yeah, so, I love our industry. It's a great industry, and I'm also passionate about business too. And so it's a fantastic industry to be in.
And when you say education and things like that, let's talk a little bit about SAF, the organization itself. And also, what does it entail? Someone never heard about it. Can you give me the little elevator pitch on SAF, and then talk a little bit about the education and those groups that you also work with as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So our SAF's mission is to connect and cultivate a thriving floral community, and the importance of that, about bringing people together. And so that's, in a big picture way, that's what we do. And we do that in a couple different ways. Certainly through our events, both virtual and our in-person events. That connection, the peer-to-peer connection, is everything for our industry. People learn so much by coming together. And we also, there's a huge need in our industry for more talent, to attract people to the floral industry and to have them stay and see it as a long-term career, not just a jumping off point to something else. And so SAF wants to play a role in attracting and keeping talent. So we also have a newly launched career development hub. We call it Career Connections, where the industry can come and experience our training. We curate training from people who've already created it. We're also creating some of our own. And ultimately, we hope our training platform will really help our industry attract and retain employees, and ultimately create outstanding flower and plant buying experiences for their customers. That's really our goal with that. And then we also play a role, SAF also plays a role in helping our industry understand and prepare for the future. And that's like the future that's next week, or the future that's 2 years down the road, or 5 years down the road. So we really try and focus our content on technology, consumer trends, and how they're changing, all these things that just change so quickly, and it can be really difficult to keep up with those. And so we do a lot of work in that area, in getting information and guidance out in our publications. We have a bi-monthly magazine called Floral Management. We have a weekly digital e-newsletter called SAF Now. And then we do webinars, and of course our in-person events. So, one example, when I talk about like the changing everything, let's look at the changing consumer. We had a virtual event last week where we looked at data that SAF had recently commissioned right after Mother's Day, consumer data. And we asked consumers not only what did they buy at Mother's Day and how much did they spend and where did they buy it, but we also wanted to be a little more forward looking and look at the next 6 months. And it's a second year in a row we've asked that question in particular, because we wanted to see how is COVID influencing flower purchases, because our industry has experienced a big surge in flower buying. And so we wanted to do this research so we could help the industry understand it. And so we had this panel, 4 different individuals talking about how they interpret that data. And then we broke up into groups. There were about 70 people on the call, and we broke up into groups, then to talk about how is what you learn from this data, how's that influencing how you're marketing, how your operations are going to change this summer and next year, so it was a great, and that's kind of thing we do. We bring people together to think about those things. We try and make that happen and influence how people are running their operations.
And you have like almost think tanks of sorts, right?
We do. Built into SAF's, SAF couldn't do what we do without actually that process. We have councils. We have a retailers, wholesalers, and growers council, 3 different councils, and they get together twice a year. They sit at the same table and talk about what are the trends and challenges in their segment. And they do that separately as segments. So I call it the Growers Council, but it includes, it can include breeders, manufacturers. So you have those people sitting at a table, each of the separate segments, talking about trends and challenges. And then we come together as a group and discuss that. And a lot of that then informs the programming that SAF develops for the industry. But it's a great process to be part of. And we have been trying over the last year or so to try and get the whole industry more involved in that, or at least, more exposed to those discussions too. So we're figuring that out.
It's the being intentional with it is the most important part. So
right.
That's, hats off go to you guys. And then, so that goes to my next question is, how did SAF change since COVID? And what you saved 6 months change as well. You had mentioned that. So what do the changes look like? How did you have to react to the whole COVID situation to be able to support?
Right. Yeah, I think SAF did probably what most associations did and do, which is we're here to react to the needs of our industry, right? And so right from the very beginning, in mid-March, we were listening to what are the challenges, and it was new space for us. And I'll be honest, it was scary too. I mean, I know it was way scarier to be running a business and in the middle of it, but as an association, we are thinking, what are we going to do for our industry? How can we help? And so we really just listened and then acted quickly. Where we initially saw the need was to help people understand whether or not their businesses could be open or not. There was a lot of confusion around that. So yeah, we built web pages to help people navigate that. And we talked to members all the time. We were on our live chat and taking phone calls. And so we were really there initially just as an ear and also as someone who could help people figure out what should they do. Should they stay open? Can they stay open? How do they navigate that? And then we quickly moved into an area that we're really familiar with, which is getting information out. And we, of course, this time it was all through virtual events. And so we were doing 2 webinars a week for several weeks through the spring, talking about supply challenges and how to navigate those, how to manage your team when, half of them are no longer there and you have to be remote. That was a huge role for us because in a big picture sense, SAF's goal was to help the industry stay open and keep selling flowers and plants. And that was our goal. So that was kind of our compass. What can we do to help businesses keep operating so that we can keep selling flowers and plants? We've got a consumer who's clearly buying more of them. We saw that beginning with Easter last year, this surge.
That was
people weren't coming together. And so we wanted to do whatever we could to make sure businesses could, to the extent that they could, and their local regulations didn't prohibit it, that they could stay open.
And then how did that change your mission? Not your mission, but how did that change anything? Is there anything that you took from COVID in a different methodology that you're going to stick with as well?
Well, we were fortunate in that we had just developed a whole new strategic plan about a year prior. And in some senses, it was a great test of our strategic plan because it's clear our strategic plan was really on target because everything our plan tells us that we should be doing, which is helping our industry find and develop talent and helping our industry connect so they can stay ahead, on top of and ahead of and understand trends. All of that was still in play. Like there were a lot of changes and we were just helping our industry navigate them. I do think though, our team I've always felt our team, there's about 15 of us on the SAF team. I've always felt like we were really nimble and really fast. We've developed a lot of new things over the years. But man, we were really fast during that, like putting out like 2 webinars a week with different panels on each one. And that, so I think we became more nimble. I also think that it allowed everyone on our team to really immerse themselves in conversations with our members, which was important. So I think over the last year, we, some of us on our team have been in the industry for a long time. And so we do, we're always talking to members and we have for a long time, but we had some new people on our team that were really just thrown into it and in conversations with a much higher number of conversations than they'd have in a normal week because of COVID and that the need was so high. So I think we came out of it really understanding where our industry is at better. We have a better understanding. So,
and I know, so I send you some questions, but I usually like to kind of ask questions because I'm very curious. So where do you see if you don't mind answering, where do you see the future of our industry going? I know it's a full packed question, but the answer, it's really packed with a lot of
really big question.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. But did you see the flower industry change a little bit for florists, I guess?
Oh gosh, it's changed so much. And I'm not going to say something that you probably haven't heard other people say, but I think our industry has experienced like 10 years worth of change, and implemented 10 years worth of change in 1 year. It just, there's so much that has happened. Operationally, people had to adjust with having much smaller teams. I think as a result of COVID, we're heading into the future with kind of leaner and meaner operations, right? Because people have had to streamline so many aspects of it. And that's all segments, that's retail, wholesale, and grower. And people have had to been forced to be really thoughtful about the choices they're making on what they're selling and who they're hiring and how they're staffing. So I think we're stronger coming out of this. And the real challenge is, we've had this year where so many consumers have been exposed to buying flowers in different ways than they were before. The amount of flower buying online, if someone wasn't buying flowers online before COVID, they probably are now. And that's forced retailers to be really strong with their websites. They've got to have a great website, right? And that probably also impacts developers in our industry because they want to make sure they're delivering solutions for our industry that the consumer wants as well. But the onus is really on our industry to keep that momentum going because the consumer changes their mind. And so the need to, remarket to people who've purchased before, the need for our industry to get messaging out there to remind people to buy flowers and is critical. We have a real opportunity here. As someone said in one of our programs, they said, we've been given this gift. Now what do we do with it?
Yes.
And there is some really good work going on right now, some collaborative efforts with different companies in our industry and different organizations working to do that.
And I think the key is to be ready to pivot again. I think we learned that in our industry. We kind of got comfortable with, we don't need social, or I'll get to my website later. It's be ready for those changes.
Right. Yeah. It takes a lot of courage and entrepreneurialism.
Yes, and a lot of labor, right? Time is what we really don't have much of, so that really takes a lot of time to do all that. But it's worth the investment. It totally is worth the investment. So let's talk a little bit about. I'm super excited going. It's going to be the first year. I've been in the industry for 18 years, and I've never been to SAF. I know it's been here in Miami a couple of times, and I still didn't make it. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit about SAF and what should people expect this year. What's your theme? And give me a little pitch there, or not a pitch. Tell me something about it.
Yeah, no, I would love to talk about it. I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited that you're going to be going for the first time. I know you're going to love it. It's such a fun event. So this year, last fall we were wanting to be kind of conservative with our convention this year, thinking about what it was going to look like. It is in Orlando, but normally our event is about 3.5 days. And last November we weren't really sure how the vaccine rollout was going to go, and so and we also weren't sure where our industry was going to be at financially too. We wanted to have the convention. Many people were asking us, "Are you going to have it? Are you going to have it?" Our gut sense was that we could have a convention. But we just wanted to be thoughtful about, where it was and how long it was. So this year's convention it's a bit shorter. It's 2 days. 2 days, and it starts the evening before, so kind of 2.5 days. And so we are packing a lot into those days. And we have it at what we think is pretty affordable resort. It's still a resort property, which our industry loves.
Beautiful resort.
It's very nice. It's really, really nice. So you still get that resort feel, and in Orlando, which has some really good rates. And so I think it's going to be a fantastic property. And as far as what really drove our programming, and SAF's convention really is mostly educational programming. We have this great supplier expo. So we do have a show of sorts. It's about 2 to 3 hours on one of the afternoons, but most of our event is educational programming and networking. So what really drove our programming this year were the themes that we were hearing, the needs we were hearing from our industry over the last year. And those really were, and in some senses, they dovetail with what SAF tries to do anyway. But one was definitely e-commerce as an overall theme.
Nice.
Your e-commerce strategy is so important, as I mentioned before. And we really want to help our attendees like just dig into that. So we're going pretty narrow and deep on that with multiple sessions dedicated to that. First, we've got Google's chief search evangelist coming.
Wow.
He's doing a keynote on paid search and how to make it work for you. And he's sharing case studies from some really huge companies but he's kind of parlaying what they do into something that makes sense for smaller businesses and talking about why you should do that and how to do it. We're going to have a panel discussion after that then of industry retailers talking about who do some paid search themselves and have evolved their paid search strategies over the last year, talking about their best practices. So you've got kind of this big picture Google guy. You're also going to hear from, your peers too on what they do with paid search. We've got other sessions also dedicated to, increasing your conversion rate on your website. We have a few sessions actually dedicated to that, improving your web presence, increasing your conversion rate. We have another session on remarketing. Again, that gets back to, you've got all these customers you've had over the last year. How are you going to keep them? So you can see we're going pretty narrow and deep on that. We also have a few sessions dedicated to social media, one looking specifically at Insta Reels. And then another one is going to be, I'm super excited about this one session. We're going to have 4 or 5 different tables set up in a room. It's kind of going to, I'll call it like speed dating. Okay. Where there's going to be a TikTok table and then another table, to get dedicated to, something else related to social media, 4 or 5 different ones. And you go to each table for 15 minutes and then you switch to the next one. So it's very demonstration oriented. We also are focusing, just switching away from the digital world. We're focusing on people too. And we want to look specifically at how has COVID impacted your ability to recruit. And actually that lady that you're showing right there, Glenna, a featured.
Yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome.
She's so great. Isn't she amazing? Yeah. We are big fans of Glenna. And I know there are several other organizations in the industry who use her. So she's going to really be talking about recruiting in this pandemic and post-pandemic environment and how recruiting is different and how you have to really change up your practices there. A couple of other things we're looking at related to talent. We've got a program that's talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And obviously a big topic for our society and an important one. And we're featuring the head of HR from Accent to Core, which is a company that actually has developed a DEI program. They've done that over the last year. And DEI is not only something that businesses should be focused on because, it's the right thing to do. There's a moral imperative in a sense. It's also good for business. I mean, it means you're recruiting more talent. And it means, if you've got a diverse workforce, then your customer base is going to respond to that. And so we want to talk about that at convention, and we want people to go away with maybe some ideas on how they can start having those conversations in their own business. Because, one thing that many people observe about our industry when they come to our events is that there's not always lots and lots of diversity. Why is that? We would love to see that change. So that's another area where we're looking at talent. We're also helping people understand themselves better as leaders. And then where is the leadership within their organizations and how to get the right people into the right jobs within their organizations. We have leaner staffs. You want to make sure everyone's doing kind of the right thing. How do you understand what people are best suited for? And then, of course, there's the trends aspect of our convention. We've got our opening session featuring Charlie Hall is going to talk about all the uncertainty that our industry's gone through, as well as the economy, and what can we expect moving forward, and how do we have to prepare our businesses for that? And again, we'll have a panel discussion after to kind of dig into that and figure out what's the practical application of that information.
And then you're having an after party.
Right. Yeah. And then there's the afterglow. Right. Exactly.
The glow party or something like that.
The afterglow party. Right. So, which is so fun. It's so great at the end of the event. That's a very fun event. So, I mean, that's just some of the things we're featuring, but you can see one of the things we tried to really inject into this year's convention was a lot of time for interaction like that, because sometimes you can sit in an event or listen to a speaker and it's so great what they're saying, but then you walk out and you think, well, what do I do? Now what? Or you might have an idea like, I'm implementing it. I wonder if I could try this. But you want to talk to someone about that. You want to talk to a peer about that. And so we're being really intentional about making that happen and making it easy for that to happen at the event.
And I see a lot of current practical information, right? So you're talking about e-commerce, you're talking about recruiting. So I really appreciate the fact that you're equipping people with takeaways that they could really implement and build their business. So, and support others' businesses. So I really love that. And I look forward to joining, to being a part of it, to checking out all that great information you're going to have out there. And I love to see that our industry is going that route and that SAF understands the importance of digital. That's amazing. My hat goes off to you guys, and I'm super excited we could be a part of it. And again, thank you so much for being on here. One last thing I usually do is, and it's just, you're a major networker and you know everybody, but if you were to network with anybody out here, anybody looking to collaborate or maybe a little partnership or anybody, would there be any shout outs that you'd like to give?
For someone that I'd like to network with?
Yeah. Exactly. Someone that you haven't been able to connect with and you're like, hey, even Florists reach out to me, or you never know, Madonna, give me a call.
I would say, I am a big believer that our industry is much stronger when we work together and when we connect and collaborate. So if anything that I've said here today is ringing anyone's bells out there, then by all means reach out, and I would love to talk about opportunities for sure.
There you go. So she's open to collaborate with anybody. Just reach out, and her ears open. So that's awesome.
Definitely.
Again, thank you so much. Really look forward to seeing you again. I know you'll be busy, but I look forward to seeing you again. And thank you for joining us. It's an honor to have you on board. And thank you again.
Well, thank you so much for your interest, Sahid. It was a pleasure to be here.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much again. Take care. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so that was awesome as always. I'm really super excited to see how SAF is supporting businesses, and I know they've done it for many years. It's now looking at digital and e-commerce and that lineup that I was not aware of. I can't wait to be a part of it. And I hope you as well, because I could just really see the value anybody can get out of that, especially if you're a small business or if you're not a small florist, because florist business is a real big business now, but you have to prepare for the future and not just kind of conform and expect just these numbers to continue to grow. Some people are telling me that 3 times more business than they had in 2019, but is that going to be sustainable? And if it is going to be sustainable, what are you doing to make sure it is sustainable? And how are you implementing technology? And I think that SAF seems like the place to be in October for that. So please reach out to Penn if you need any questions, or we have SAF, here you go, safnow.org to sign up. I think the early bird's kind of up, but the hotel's amazing. So I'm trying my best to book my hotel as soon as possible, and it's a great deal as well. So do check that out, as well as make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share. That always helps us get the algorithms going. And as well as myself, I'm an open book. You need anything, you want to understand the industry, you need to network with somebody or collaborate, feel free to reach out to me. I am always available. You can always go to newbloomsolutions.com. And I have my Calendly in there. I just have a couple 2 days that I open it up to anybody that wants to reach out to me and collaborate and network. So here to help. Truly appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, and make sure to keep an eye on us. This month we're doing conventions, so we're kind of over, but keep an eye on LinkedIn. And next month we're talking about logistics. So we're going to have some really cool logistics innovation, some great leaders in logistics, like Christine Bolt is going to be on next month as well. So super excited to have her on. And gosh, I forgot to talk about Smiles and Hugs, I think was the campaign they did with SAF. But check it out if you want more information. Go to SAF, and Smiles and Hugs was a great campaign that they did to build awareness about the value of flowers. I hope I'm saying the name right. Don't kill me, Christine. Sorry. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. Truly means the world to me that you guys spent a couple minutes with us. And hope to see you again next week or the week after. Just keep an eye on the calendars. Thank you again. Take care.